It is 11:47 on a Tuesday night in Hamilton, Ontario. Sarah is sitting at her kitchen table with a mug of tea that went cold an hour ago. She has two browser tabs open on her laptop. The first one, her credit card account. Visa, $8,400 her balance. Interest rate printed at the top, 19.99%. The second tab, her TFSA at a self-directed brokerage she opened 8 months ago. It has $340 in it. She put it in herself. She hasn't touched it since. She has $300 this month. She can put it toward the Visa, or she can finally start investing the way every article she reads tells her she should be doing. She has been staring at both tabs for 40 minutes. Every personal finance video she's watched gives her a different answer. Pay off debt first, it's a guaranteed return. No, invest first, compound interest can't wait. No, do both, split it down the middle. No, it depends on your interest rate. No, it depends on your tax bracket. Nobody showed her the actual math. I'm Nick. I make plain English videos about money for Canadians who are tired of conflicting advice and just want someone to run the numbers. Not a financial advisor, just math. Here's the thing. There is a correct answer to what Sarah should do tonight. It is not, it depends on your situation. It depends on exactly one number. And once you see what that number is, you will never second guess this decision again. Let me explain the formula first before we run the numbers. Every time you have a free dollar, $1 above your bills, above your minimums, above your emergency fund, you have two choices. Option A, you put it toward debt. When you pay down debt, you earn a guaranteed return equal to your interest rate. If your Visa charges 19.99% and you put $1,000 against the balance, you just earn 19.99% on that $1,000. Guaranteed, no market risk. No bad years, completely tax-free. Option B, you invest it. When you invest, you earn whatever the market returns. A broad Canadian index ETF has historically returned around 6.5 to 7% per year on average over long periods. That is not guaranteed. It is an average across decades that includes years where the market dropped 30% and years where it returned 25%. In any given year, you do not know which one you are getting. The crossover formula is this. If your debt's interest rate is higher than your expected after-tax investment return, you pay the debt first. Always. That is the entire framework. Everything else is just applying it to your specific numbers. So let's apply it. Back to Sarah, $8,400 balance, 19.99%, $300 a month free. Option A, Sarah starts investing. She puts $300 a month into a low-cost index ETF inside her TFSA. She makes the minimum payment on the Visa. At 2% of the balance, that's about $168 per month to start. At a 6.5% average annual return, after 2 full years her TFSA has grown to roughly $7,200 in contributions, with about $460 in market gains. Not bad, she's building something. Here's what happened on the other tab while that was going on. That 19.99% Visa was running. At 2% minimum payments, the monthly interest charge alone is $140 in the first month. The minimum payment barely covers it. The balance moves by almost nothing. Over those same 24 months, Sarah paid approximately $3,100 in interest charges. Her $8,400 balance is still sitting above $7,000. She earned $460 in the market. She paid $3,100 in interest. Net position negative $2,640. Option B, Sarah ignores the TFSA for now. The full $300 a month goes toward the Visa on top of the minimum payment. She attacks it. As the balance drops, the interest charges drop with it, and more of every payment goes to principal. The Visa is gone in about 22 months. Total interest paid before the balance hits zero, roughly $1,500. Now the card is dead. That $300 a month is free. She opens her TFSA and invests everything, no credit card hanging over her head. Compared to option A, she paid $1,600 less in interest. And going forward, the full $300 compounds without a 19.99% anchor, dragging against every dollar she earns in the market. The math is not close. You are not going to outinvest a 19.99% guaranteed loss. No index ETF does that consistently. When your debt rate is above your expected market return, the debt is your best investment. Pay it first. Now here's where most videos stop. They show you the easy case, the high-interest credit card, declare the answer settled, and move on. But Nick's situation is different. And the answer changes completely. Nick is 38 and works in Calgary. He has a $22,000 car loan at 6.5%. He has $500 a month free. And his employer offers an RRSP matching program, 50 cents for every dollar Nick contributes, up to 3% of his salary. Nick earns $80,000 a year. 3% of $80,000 is $2,400. If Nick contributes $2,400 to his RRSP this year, his employer adds $1,200 on top. That is $1,200 of free money, an immediate 50% return before the market does a single thing. Nothing you will ever find returns 50% guaranteed on day one. Not an index ETF, not a GIC, not a savings account. The employer match is the highest return financial move available to Nick. It is not optional. So Nick's first move is to capture the full employer match. That costs him $200 a month in RRSP contributions. His employer matches $100. He has $300 left. Now does that $300 go toward the car loan or into his TFSA? The car loan is 6.5%. A broad index ETF inside a TFSA has historically returned around 6.5% per year on average. They look identical, but here is the TFSA wrinkle: that 6.5% return inside a TFSA is completely tax-free. When you withdraw it in retirement, you owe nothing to the CRA. That makes the after-tax equivalent of the TFSA return slightly higher than 6.5%, depending on your tax bracket. In Nick's case, the formula is nearly a tie. The honest answer, it barely matters which he chooses. He could split the $300, $150 to the loan, $150 to the TFSA, and lose almost nothing mathematically either way. What matters enormously is that he captured the employer match first. That free $200 per year is so far above the debt versus invest calculation that skipping it for any reason would be the most expensive financial mistake Nick could make. Rule update: before you apply the crossover formula, always check for an employer match. Capture it in full, then run the formula on everything that is left. There is one more cost the formula does not catch. Debt has psychological weight. When you are carrying a balance, there is a quiet background voice that says, "I have debt anyway, so it does not really matter if I spend a bit more this month." Researchers have studied this pattern. It changes spending behavior in ways that never show up in a spreadsheet. Eliminating consumer debt does not just save you interest. It removes the permission structure that keeps your spending a little higher than it should be, month after month. The math is only part of the picture. Here is the objection I hear most often. But compound interest. I need to start investing right now. Every year I wait costs me tens of thousands of dollars in future growth. That is a real argument, and it is true in the right context. Here is why it does not apply to Sarah. Compound interest works in both directions. That Visa balance is compounding against her at 19.99% right now. An $8,400 balance making only minimum payments becomes nearly $10,000 in debt within a year. The compound growth she would earn in a broad market index does not outrun that. It mathematically cannot, not at 6.5% versus 19.99%. The start investing now argument is correct when your debt rate is low, below 5%, below your expected market return. When you are carrying high-interest consumer debt, starting to invest first is not compound interest working for you. It is compound interest working against you on the debt, harder and faster than it is working for you in the market. Run the formula before you run the feelings. One thing the formula does not account for: your sleep. If carrying debt makes you anxious at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, if it causes arguments, if it makes you feel behind every single morning, pay it off first. Even if the rates are close, even if the strict math says invest. The best financial decision is not always the one with the highest number on paper. It is the one you can actually execute without costing you somewhere else, in your relationship, your health, the background noise of your day. A slightly suboptimal plan you actually follow beats a perfect one you cannot emotionally execute. Sarah paid off her Visa. It took 22 months. The month after the balance hit zero, she opened her TFSA and put $300 in. Then the next month, then the next. She did not become a millionaire overnight, but she stopped paying 19.99% on a Tuesday night decision. That is worth more than most people realize. Nick captured his full employer match on day one, all of it, every year. Then he split the rest between the car loan and his TFSA until the loan was gone and the full $500 a month was finally entirely his to invest. Neither of them waited for the perfect moment. They ran the formula and they moved. Here's the one question to ask before every extra dollar you have. What is the guaranteed return on paying down my debt, and how does it compare to my expected after-tax investment return? If the debt rate is meaningfully higher, pay the debt. If they are close, check for an employer match first. If the investment return clearly wins, invest. That is the whole thing. Not complicated. Just requires doing the math instead of feeling it. I'm Nick. This is Boring Money Canada. The boring one wins.